Good morning, and thank you very much for being here on this lovely warm day. A couple of, I suppose, points that we've all seen. I just want to start with the team who's here behind me. Now, Rosslyn Data Technologies was founded in 2005, actually started trading in 2007, and we IPO'd last year. The gentleman on the far left, top far left, Charles Clark, can't be here. He thought going off to Las Vegas, I think. He's having some fun over there, closing some business, I believe he told me. Anyway, we'll see when he gets back. The key people in this group here are John O'Hara, who is the ex-CEO of Pitney Bowes Software. So we have a very good, very knowledgeable, shall we say, capital on our board. Jeff Sweetman, ex-Oracle. And the key man there is Quinn. Quinn is our CTO, and I'll talk more about him as we go through what we've actually developed, what we've done, and why we're taking this, shall we say, data warehouse in the cloud market by storm at the moment. So we have offices in the US, UK, proprietary data. Everything we develop is ours, except for the little pieces which I'll describe to you as we go through. And we've got patents pending and over 100 customers. Why do we exist and why are we here? The more we talk to people, the more we talk to businesses, most people in large organizations or organizations in general know that their data is insufficient, is dirty, is not useful, is not available, and they're frustrated by the fact that they can't get hold of it. That's been shown very much in these latest reports from the market. Less than half of businesses think their data is a strategic asset. That's a fairly dry subject, data, so sorry, I get very excited by it. Chief Data Officer, they gave me the job. The key thing is if more than half the companies believe that their data is irrelevant to their business decisions, we've got a fundamental problem with our large companies. I mean, that is just an insane statement to make, even to a survey generator. Also, another half believe that it's just too difficult, too hard, and I can't be bothered. So we've heard from other companies where they're trying to make this an easier solution. They're trying to facilitate integration in the cloud. And really, where we've come in is to inform that remainder of the population that why data is important. We explain to them how having a data warehouse in the cloud, which links to very insightful business analytics and business intelligence, is vital. And we also confirm to them on a regular basis, and I spent yesterday in Dublin talking to one of Ireland's largest companies, why data, shall we say, we call it crap in, crap out, but if you don't bother to do anything with your data and then you do analytics on it, you will end up seeing complete rubbish. It'll be pretty, you'll have nice pie charts, nice 3D pie charts, scatter graphs, you'll have all the toys you want, but principally you're going to have pretty rubbish data. We exist because of this actual position in the world. So what we are solving is awareness, solutions, and also ensuring that people understand the quality of the data and the cost of their mistakes. The cost of these mistakes are quite dramatic. So what we've developed over time is the ability for people to take, let's say, average client has about 5 to 10 different sources of data. He wants it analyzed, he wants it sorted, he wants it cleansed, he wants to be able to report on it, he wants to trust it. We work in all the sectors, and I'll go through our client list in a minute so you can see the kind of areas we're working on. But principally, the reason we existed was there was a massive gap in the market. Everyone was focusing on some of the financial information coming in other words, revenue, and no one was focusing on the information going out, which was the cost base. That was our first trigger in about 2007, 2008. We thought there's a market there. We should really work into that. From those early days, we've now expanded into any data. We capture any data from risk management to utilities to people are now talking about machine learning data, talking about utility information. There's a whole gamut of information sources we are using to analyze and provide feedback to our clients for. The other area, which in a sense, to make it easy, to make it understandable of what we do, is the ability to extract data. Now that is, again, fairly dry. Apologies, it's not very exciting. It happens at the back end. Nobody ever sees it. The ability to integrate data from, say, 15 SAP systems into one platform is a non-trivial exercise. Most people would take about a year, 2 years to get it done. They'd have a data warehouse. They'd have all these wonderful companies, the SIs, the Accentures, and everybody else coming in, 20 people on site, X million pounds later, you've got your data integrated. We're able to do this in a matter of weeks. The difference between us and them is the approach. We have our data warehouse in the cloud. We have extraction tools. Next generation has just been built recently to gather data in a matter of hours from a particular source, integrate it, schedule it, rerun it, and bring that data to bear in the cloud. To try and make it a little bit more intuitive about what we do. Over here, every company has a vast amount of data. Now, a lot of them don't know about it. 90% of people who work in those companies say, I can't even get hold of it. Half of them think it's irrelevant anyway to their business because they're going to do it by gut instinct and they're going to make a good guess. It's Monday morning. I'm feeling good. I'm going to make a big punchy decision irrelevant of the data, what the data is telling me. That happens all the time. It's only when that becomes a complete disaster, a complete mistake, that they suddenly look back and they try and find a reason why that mistake happened, and they'll find it somewhere in their data. If they'd actually bothered to look at their data, they'd have found the reason. We are normally brought in after the disaster. We are brought in by a company, by a partner, by an expert who says, we've had a big problem here. We're not quite sure why. Could you come and analyze the data and tell me what happened? We, in our process, take the data from these multiple sources, and it can be hundreds of sources. We've got clients with many hundreds of sources, or it can be 2 or 3 sources. It really depends on what the issue is and what we're trying to achieve. We pump it up, and it goes into here. This is the first step of our added value, because at the moment there are companies, Informatica, Talent, plenty of companies who do data extraction, suck out data from systems, and then play with it. The area we have here at this point there, which isn't working. Anyway, bottom of that refinery is really where we get the data. We apply business logic. In other words, we apply what the client knows. The client will tell us, right, I know you shouldn't be doing this. That's wrong. Ignore that. Add this. Here's my other information. I want it to contain this information before it goes through your refinery. We then integrate it, we cleanse it, and we enrich it. Now, those are non-trivial events. Cleansing is not deduping. It's not, oops, that's the wrong address, or oops, that's a bit of noise. It is really understanding the data, doing data quality, and finding out exactly what can be done with that data and what can't be done with that data, understanding the data. The enrichment process then carries through, whereby we associate data to multiple sources. And you can see here the kind of sources we are using here, which is both premium data, D&B, BVD, Equifax, Experian, Pitney Bowes, any other source we can get on the market, we will use to enrich that data. Now, what happens, the data goes over the top, goes to the decision makers, the data scientists, or the people who've requested, the business analysts who've requested this data. It then goes back into the funnel, if you want, in order to be more intelligent. Now, this is a non-trivial thing to understand. The data coming in here is the data that's as good as the company can get it. They've got the data, we've sorted it, we've cleansed it, we've understood it, we're now replaying it. We know there are people on the ground who can look at this data, look at some of the variables, and say this is fundamentally wrong, this needs to be changed, this is nothing to do with this area, this should be classified in this way, this is a high risk, low risk, and they can add their value. Now, what we've written, and our real differentiator, the clever part of the operation, we've written code which allows people to dynamically codify their decisions. So in other words, if I see something that is fundamentally wrong, I can, using an interface, change that decision-making process. So I can see that these 2 or 3 variables no longer mean this, they mean that, and I can codify it and I can keep it in my system and replay it. So the next time the data goes through, that rule already exists. That is the differentiator between us and somebody just pumping data into a visualization tool and showing you a nice pie chart. The whole process is repeated thousands of times with our clients. We are the only source of data which contains that intelligence. Our clients cannot use their data they've given us and go back and try and do it themselves without that engine which has those rules and that intelligence. That is the key event why Rosslyn really exists, is the ability to incorporate intelligence from our clients and from our users back into the funnel. We call it artificial intelligence, human-driven machine learning. It's the other choice from rational, shall we say, decision-making, or rational artificial intelligence, whereby you're trying to do it through technology and engineering. We are doing it through the knowledge that individuals themselves have a far greater capacity to alter the data, to rectify, to qualify, to correct the data than machines do. Once that data has gone through several loops, it's then ready for distribution back to sales, customs, whoever else you want it. But that key loop there, that reinforcing virtuous loop, is really where Rosslyn stands out and why we are who we are. Now, the proof that what we do actually works, matters, and is important. Our clients, as you can see, Some of them were not allowed to put on there, which is a great shame, but they're very, very big names, usually in the law enforcement or defense sector. They all understand the value of data. Professional services, legal firms, we've got manufacturers, we've got the equivalent to Bupa in the United States, Blue Cross Blue Shield, we've got utilities. So it doesn't matter, it's not sector specific. Data is data. If data is flawed, it's wrong, it's being badly used, we can help you solve it. We have the ability to take that data and enhance it to a point where it actually has value to the company. And there's enormous value in data once it's been enriched. Our partners, the main ones I just point out here, are Xerox, Exchanging, Cognizant, PwC, and Genpact. Those are both, they're the global clients, and we are working with them on a greater and greater basis. Xerox, we're fully embedded. We are working not only with them, but with their clients. PwC, we are now the go-to analytics platform for PwC when they go into a client and they're starting to do a turnaround and analysis, any form of operational efficiency. PwC will contact us. We're behind the scenes, if you want, fairly invisible. We will be gathering that data, putting it into our data warehouse in the cloud, analyzing it, understanding it, reporting back to them, and they'll be then doing their analysis based on that cleansed, enriched data. And that happens in a matter of a few days. Merck, I'll just talk about this. You can't really see there are boxes in those two, but I'll just tell you what the story was. With Merck, what happened, it's quite interesting. We went to see them while we were passing in New York State, and they mentioned that they had a few issues with data quality. We didn't quite understand the issue, we didn't quite understand the problem, so we had a quick pilot with them where they sent us some information, we looked at it, we analyzed it, cleansed it, sent it back thinking we'd done an okay job, and it was, I don't know, maybe 20,000 rows, nothing dramatic. It was quite quickly done. We found out that that was the first time they'd actually been able to do that outside their normal in-house operations. They've had consultants in trying to do it, and that failed. So in a matter of days, we were able to prove to them that our solution, our process, and our experience was able to generate value for them beyond what they'd already experienced internally. They then sent us 250,000 rows. We're now running that, and the process is now growing. We expect to be achieving the millions of rows and the tens of millions of rows quite soon. What we've done and what we do with a lot of our clients is an agile approach. We're an agile company. We take small amounts of information. We prove the value of what we do. We then gather and grow that business based on success and based on our ability to prove the value of what our technology can do. I'll go through the numbers now. Of course, I've got my CFO with me today, so please feel free to come to the stand later and talk if you're really interested in all the numbers details, which I'm sure you are. You can get the full background on those. But principally, since we raised the money at the IPO, we've been investing very heavily in sales and marketing and, of course, research and development. Our growth has been very good, last 23%. We are having a very good start of this calendar year and of our financial year, last quarter of our financial year. The business is growing very much in the US, and the technology is developing at a very fast rate as we've acquired more and more individuals to help us with that process. You can see here the numbers. Revenue's gone up 24%. The losses incurred are growing purely on a headcount basis. We are very aware of our cost base. We're very keen to control our cost base. We do have a certain amount of money left in the bank after the IPO, which we intend to be very cautious with and very careful. We're not simply throwing it at the business because it's there. We're very aware that this is our most important asset, to make sure that we distribute and use those funds to recruit the best people, to build the business, and to make sure that we start generating revenue according to plan. We are on plan. We are on target with our numbers. We've been on target since the IPO. We've one of the few companies in the tech sector on AIM that haven't suddenly decided to do a cash call or taken a dive or decided to stop paying their CEO, CFO, whoever. So he's still happy that they're still being paid. The purpose, the real reason that this company, the reason why maybe it's a bit difficult to also appreciate understanding what we do, it's very much behind the scenes. Companies need us, governments need us, business need us, because we understand data, we control data, we manage data, we deliver value on data, and our ability to do that in a matter of days and weeks compared to months and years is where we stand out. We've still got a lot of work to do. There's a vast There's a vast market out there to capture. My CMO, who's also, Chief Marketing Officer, who's also in the room today and will also be on the booth, recently went to some analysts and they asked us, well, exactly what do you do? Do you do visualization? Do you do really nice charts? Are you one of these companies who's going to do scatter graphs, that do timeline series and all those wonderful things? And no, nothing like that at all. If we need those, I'll go and buy them. They're 10 a penny in the market. What we really are is the data, understanding the data, getting the data to work, and delivering value to our clients. So in conclusion, great growth, on target. We've got contracts won recently, and the reason why the CFO is not here, as I said, he is closing business over in the States, which we hope to be able to announce very soon. And we've also, through our partners, and I was mentioning some of the partners' names earlier, that pipeline is growing dramatically. We are currently dealing with managing growth very well. Our platform is very scalable. Just to give you an understanding, our data centers, we now need much bigger data centers than we usually use, than you normally go to. We've had to go to the largest data center provider in the world to go and use his secure premises in order for us to be able to be scalable and grow at the speed we want to grow. Cash, we are absolutely fine on cash, but as I said, we are very, very aware, especially when you start a company yourself, as I did, 2 people sat on a desk with 1 telephone. You know the value of money in the bank, you know how much it costs, and you know the cost of losing that money as well if you don't deliver, if you don't use it properly. So we are very aware, both the CEO and myself, of the value of that investment that our clients, that our investors have made. So I'll just finish here. One stand for. I look forward to seeing you if you've got any questions on cloud technologies and the buzzwords, but I'll explain the buzzwords, why some of them are irrelevant, but, you know, big data, cloud technologies, all those things. Please, if you're interested in those, come and talk to me, and I'll be able to hopefully enlighten you a little. Thank you very much for your time.